tienen manera de comunicarse con alguien cercano a Teófimo, sáquenle eso a ver qué le va a decir, a ver si va a obviar la situación, el caripelado ese.
¿Sabes
Charlatán. De hecho,
yo,
le voy a enviar un mensaje.
dale.
De hecho, te voy a noquear, cabrón. Este puertorriqueño te va a noquear y el mundo se va a reír de ti. Vas a terminar en un psicólogo. Vas a ver, te voy a noquear.
A ver, ya está, mira.
Hello, amigos, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy here in Miami, Florida. How are you guys doing this morning? Okay, guys, we're going to jump immediately because I got a lot of stuff to do today, but I wanted to talk about this thing, this subject that I was been circling my mind for a couple of days. Kind of frustrated about, the fact that now Subriel Matias does not have an opponent. Lee Amparo got what they call in Puerto Rico el frío olímpico. All right, he did a double take. He said, you know what? If I'm gonna fight this guy, I'm gonna ask for a lot more money, and so he priced himself out. Now the Puerto Rican monster, el orgullo de Maternillo, Subriel Matias, has no opponent set up. All right, so I was thinking about this. This is just fantasy fights, maybe, or maybe fights that really could happen, depending on the promoter for Subriel Matias, Mr. Juan Orengo, and his manager. These are three different opponents that I believe would bring a lot of interest to Subriel Matias' next fight. Would probably be done if sold correctly to Mr. Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. Could probably be made in San Juan, Puerto Rico. All right, and I'm referring to three specific boxers, and I want to know what you guys think about each one of these fighters. Is there a possibility that Subriel Matias can face any of these guys? And I don't know if these guys want to face Subriel Matias, but if they make any of these three different fighters a good offer, I'm pretty sure they would be willing to fight for a title in Puerto Rico. All right, and we're gonna discuss the first boxer. All right, Michel Rivera. Michel Rivera is is a super light fighter. He has 26 fights. He has one loss, 14 knockouts. All right, he's from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. All right, there's a big community. There's a big population of Dominican people in Puerto Rico. I mean, if you see some of these games between Puerto Rico and Santo Domingo, República Dominicana, Dominican Republic, baseball over there in the island, bro, that place is packed. Or when Puerto Rico is playing basketball in a Pan American games, or maybe a basketball tournament, local basketball tournament between Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic and DR, man, it gets packed. There's a lot of people, a lot of Dominicans in PR, and a lot of Dominican Puerto Ricans, So Michel Rivera is a good boxer. He's got great skills. He's coming from a unanimous decision victory against Sergey Lipinets, who is a former world champion. Sergey Lipinets has it's actually 17-2, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so Michel Rivera, Dominican fighter, super lightweight from DR. Would that be a fight that would be attractive to Subriel Matias? Michel Rivera is more of a technician. It's more a fighter. He does have a bit of power. He's got 14 knockouts out of his 25 fights. He looks a little bit like Muhammad Ali. He dresses up like Muhammad Ali. I don't know if you guys seen him, with a haircut and the white robe and the white pants and the whole attire resembling Muhammad Ali, but he's nowhere close to Muhammad Ali, guys. He's nowhere close to Muhammad Ali, all right? There was only one Muhammad Ali, but he does have a resemblance. He does look a little bit like Ali, all right? Physically, not skillfully, All right, so Michel Rivera, what do you guys think? Is that an option in Puerto Rico? All right, the next fighter and the next two fighters are also from Dominican Republic. I'm choosing 3 Dominican fighters because it would be a great opportunity for negotiation. It would be a good way of negotiating this fight and selling it to Eddie Hearn because there's a big Dominican population in Puerto Rico, because I know any of these fighters would like to fight in San Juan, you know, being Dominican and having a big fan base in Puerto Rico. And I don't think it would be so hard to make some of these other fights, all right? So the next 2 fighters are also from the yard. And I just thought about this the other day. What if Subriel Matias fights a Dominican guy, all right? Let's think of the 3 top Dominican fighters, or some of the 3 top Dominican fighters in that weight division, all right? And the next one would be Elvis Rodriguez. Elvis Rodriguez, all right? Elvis Rodriguez is one hell of a fighter, guys. Elvis Rodriguez has, looking here, has 15 fights, 15 victories, 1 loss, with 13 knockouts. Okay, this guy is a power puncher. He's southpaw. He's somebody that could give that is actually Subriel Matias has had very much experience with southpaws in the past. He's been able to defeat them very easily. His last fight, Elvis Rodriguez's last fight, was against Victor Postal, former champion, all right, with a record of 31-4. He won by TKO on the 7th round. Okay, this guy is an exciting fighter, guys. This guy is actually a hard puncher. He's got a lot of skills. He's got solid fundamentals. He is 5'10". He's a tall guy with 71-inch reach. So he's about the same height as Subriel Matias, and is someone that would match up really good against him. And for those people that say, oh, Subriel hasn't fought any technical fighters, this guy would be a solid fundamental fighter with a lot of pop, with a lot of power. All right, so I would definitely believe he's also southpaw. I would definitely believe that this would be more intriguing. This would be a closer matchup between Elvis Rodriguez versus Subriel Matias than the one that I mentioned before, Michel Rivera versus Subriel Matias. What do you guys think? Elvis Rodriguez, 15-1 with 13 knockouts. Okay, let's look at his loss here. His loss was a majority decision against Kenneth Sims Jr., who's 15-2-1. All right, Kenneth Sims Jr. It was an 8-rounder, and that was 2021. All right, Elvis Rodriguez's last fight was on 2023, July 15th. So he hasn't fought in about a few months, half a year, more or less, a little bit more than 6 months, 8 months or so. And the fight before that, he had 2 fights in 2023. He had 1 fight in 2022. He had 1 fight, 3 fights in 2021. So he has been fairly active. There was one year there where he only had 1 fight, and it's hard nowadays. Some of these fighters, man, that they start getting up there in experience and getting up there in popularity and whatnot. Their promoters are not too willing to face them with the best, and it kind of stales their career. It does not let them grow professionally, and some of the fights that people want to see them again in are not being made. Some of the potential fights that these guys would be able to have are not being made by promoters because they're afraid their kid, who is an up-and-comer, who is an attractive fighter, will probably take an L. And nowadays, an L is like a mark of death, the kiss of death. like the one in The Godfather when you kiss your brother, the person you want to kill, you give him the kiss of death. All right, and these promoters don't want their up and comer, their golden kid, their guy that they want to make a lot of money. They've invested in promoting to have that kiss of death, especially with somebody like Subriel Matias. All right, so will Elvis, all right, Rodriguez, step inside the ring against Subriel Matias? I think, like I said before, it would be more attractive to see Subriel Matias versus Elvis Rodriguez than versus Michel Rivera. What do you guys think? All right, any of those two would be a good fight, though. All right, and the next one, and I think this one would be kind of interesting, and I'll tell you why. Jermaine Ortiz. I know some of you guys are going to say, no, that guy moves around a lot, blah, blah, blah. Guy, this guy's a great boxer. This guy's one hell of a boxer. And I believe if I was the promoter, or I was the manager for Subriel Matias, and you know who Jermaine Ortiz is, let me go backtrack a little bit. Jermaine Ortiz just fought Teofimo Lopez, and he actually schooled him, all right? In my opinion, he beat Teofimo Lopez. Jermaine Ortiz should be a champion right now, all right? So, if I was his promoter, if I was Subriel Matias promoter, if I was Subriel Matias manager, I would tell him, you know what? Jermaine Ortiz beat Teofimo Lopez. Everybody knows he beat Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez and his dad knows he beat him. Let's face this guy. There's a lot of critics, a lot of naysayers out there that say you can't handle technical fighters. Now, I know some of you guys that want action-packed fights, and so do I, guys. I love aggressive fighters. I love toe-to-toe. I like the Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns type of fight, Barrera versus Morales, all those guys, Lupe Pintor versus Wilfredo Gomez. Man, those are some of my favorite fights of all time. But this would be a different fight. And I think that in order to shut the naysayers down and to give you a good gauge on how Matias would fare against Teofimo Lopez, and I know styles make fights, but Teofimo Lopez is a come-forward fighter. He's an aggressive fighter. He does have a lot of skills. He has poor footwork. He doesn't know how to cut off the ring, but Subriel Matias does. And there's a lot of people out there that say that Subriel Matias flat-footed. He's one-dimensional. He hasn't fought any technical fighter. If I was his promoter, if I was Subriel Matias promoter, if I was Subriel Matias manager, I'd say, let's fight Jermaine Ortiz. I'm pretty sure Jermaine Ortiz would take that fight. I'm pretty sure Jermaine Ortiz, although he's half Puerto Rican, half Dominican, he still has a big fan base in DR. He still has a big fan base in Puerto Rico. A lot of Dominican people would go see him. So what do you guys think? Would that be a boring fight? Just like the Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz, the past fight he just had? I don't think so, guys. And you know why? Because what I just mentioned. Teofimo Lopez, poor fundamentals in footwork, in cutting off the ring, and being out of balance the whole time when he's throwing some of these punches, and like I said, Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, is an overrated fighter. He's been lucky. They fought a smaller Lomachenko. That was a really tough fight. He fought a Comey who was one-dimensional and only had the power, but he hasn't knocked out anybody at 140. He hasn't knocked out anybody in years. He lost against Camboso, who I consider a B+ type of fighter, who's actually gonna fight no Lomachenko now. So who knows how that fight is gonna end up. But again, my opinion, and I want to know what your opinion is. Jermaine Ortiz versus Subriel Matias in Choliseo in San Juan, Puerto Rico, at the Coliseum there. What do you guys think? I would go to see that fight. I think the Elvis Rodriguez would be a little bit more competitive because Elvis Rodriguez got a lot of punching power. That would be more action packed, in my opinion. But this way, if he fights Jermaine Ortiz, he's able and defeats him and knocks him out. Just imagine that. What Teofimo Lopez was not able to do in cutting off the ring. What Teofimo Lopez, the way Teofimo Lopez looked, out of balance all the time, falling into the ropes, not being able to actually use some of the fundamentals of cutting off the ring. Having, Jermaine Ortiz weaving to the right, pivoting to the right and moving away from him time after time after time. I wasn't able to connect with those hooks, wild hooks he was throwing. Imagine if Subriel Matias knocks out Jermaine Ortiz, how his stock would move up. So 3 Dominicans, 3 possible Dominican fighters with a huge fan base in Puerto Rico. Any of those 3 guys would be excellent for Subriel Matias. And right now, Subriel Matias doesn't have any options. From what I know his team is probably working hard to find somebody attractive. But I mean, these 3 guys, I'll pick one of those guys. You want to fight for a title in San Juan? Let's go. Here's the money. They don't have any, I don't think they don't have any type of commitments right now. Jermaine Ortiz just finished fighting. So this fight would be in June or July. All right? I believe that Subriel Matias' hand is already healed. He's already training, or it's almost at 100%. He's already training in the hills of in the mountains of Mexico. From what I heard, Panda say, well, he's not hitting the bag with that hand so much. He's just working on conditioning. Well, let it heal. But he'll be ready for June. He'll be ready for July. So tell me, guys, who do you guys pick out of these 3 fighters? And I know there's politics involved, and I know there's promoters involved, and I know all this other crap. But let's just call this a fantasy matchup. Who would you want to see against Subriel Matias? And let me call the names again. Michel Rivera, okay, from Dominican Republic, all right, Ali lookalike with 25 wins, 1 loss, and 14 knockouts. Elvis Rodriguez from Dominican Republic. He's got 16 fights, 1 loss, 15 wins, and 13 by knockouts. A power puncher, all right? 5'10", 71-inch reach. Or Jermaine Ortiz, who has 17 fights, 1, 2 losses, 8 knockouts. He is 5'8", 69-inch reach. Right? Who would you choose, guys? All right? I'll let you guys decide. And please, remember, always like, share, subscribe. Make comments. I'll try to reply to any comments out there. You guys have been very engaged, and I really appreciate your support. We're way over 1,000 subscribers. This channel is moving along just fine, and I'm gonna continue producing more videos for you guys and talk about the sport that we love so much. Some up-and-coming fighters, some fights that are coming, and again, I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate your support. Again, this is Coach Mario from Warriors Pride Boxing Academy, owner and head coach, saying hasta la vista. Have an excellent day. God bless you all, and peace.